Hi, and welcome to Reality Check. I'm your host, Lou Meyer, and my guest this week, I'm fortunate to have Mark Joyous, who's the founder of Earthseeds, here on the show. Thanks for coming on, Mark.
Thanks for having us, Lou.
This is wonderful. Mark is here from Colorado and just attended, which also Adele, who's on our staff here, just attended the International Symposium on Digital Earth. And you presented at this.
Yeah, we talk. It was a nice unconference. It was a great two-way street. It wasn't just talking heads. People got involved and shared the technology and the capability of what can happen in the future. And I think that other magazine showing the polar melt, amazing technology going on, where school children can get on Google Earth and see the changes of what's going on the planet. So you can't hide this stuff anymore. It's pretty out there.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Earthseeds? What's it about, and how'd you get started?
Well, got started basically goes back to when I lived here in California in the Redwoods. I was a park ranger, and at the time I was teaching environmental education and so forth up there. A lot of Buckminster Fuller concepts and Jacques Cousteau, and I would have to digest and make it available to the 6th grade level and on up for mass consumption. And I found this image of the Earth, the picture postcard, was what brought people together. I mean, literally, I would sometimes have to break up fights.
There it is. It's our sign.
People ask about, oh, why'd you leave the Park Service? It was a great job. Yes, there were many people waiting to take my place, but most national parks, you've got a beautiful, hey, come take a pretty picture. But as you know, the Redwoods was a controversial area with logging and use, and so sometimes literally you'd be right in the middle of something. And people, well, hey, we need redwood decks, and wait, over my dead body, on this chain to this tree. I'm from here and I'm from there. I would bring up this picture and say, well, here's a picture of my home. And that would usually break the ice, and people would start laughing. And more than that, it pulls them into that image. That's what I discovered. The power of that image is just impressive. And later on, I saw Joseph Campbell talking to Bill Moyers about the fact that that's the icon for the future. He said, if we're going to make it, and it's getting a little iffy, he says, then that's what we're going to have to pull into. And it's not just the Earth image, but the circle, the wholeness of it, all that kind of energy.
It's a real old spiritual image.
Absolutely. So starting Earthseeds was from the Global View Foundation, a 501c3. We just decided it's important to get this image out more. It's amazing how many people I know that are school teachers. You go into a classroom and you don't see it. There's rainbows and there's dinosaurs and there's ABCs on the wall. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where's our global family portrait? And so we said, look, if you're going to have one picture up in any classroom, if you've got a hut in the middle of a jungle, there's the one picture you should have, because it's the one picture that has all of us in it. It's a global family portrait.
Yeah, and it shows you the finiteness, if that's a word, of Earth. One of the astronauts, I think it was Shepard maybe, but was commenting on that. He said, it suddenly puts everything into perspective when you
Absolutely. We had several astronauts endorse the book and what we're doing. And it's amazing. Those guys, 80% of them, you don't hear them out this much, but when they come back, they all work for nonprofits and things because they've been changed. Their hearts have been opened in such a way. Edgar Mitchell obviously is one of the most famous, having the Institute for Noetic Sciences, but all of them had to say, well, now what? After that, how do you top that? So it goes directly to the idea of let's open up, let's understand what's going on, and more importantly, we don't have the fuel to send all our children up there to space, or any of us. So there's a creative way of getting this image out, and that's what Earthseeds is about.
Well, how does your program work then?
Well, a number of different ways. The basic tip of the iceberg is we ask people to be Earthseed ambassadors, and that means anybody can go when they travel, grandma in the RV, a backpacker, a student, take an image of Earth, drop it off somewhere, post it up, ideally at a school, but a church, a camp, anywhere. Because then we want them to get involved. What will happen is we'll say, all right, we'll give your classroom a poster of Earth or an Earth image if you'll buy one to pay it forward. And the kids all know from that movie, Pay It Forward, that that's how you do things when you don't have a huge budget. And we're always looking for sponsors and donators. We had a great example of what can happen in one school across the bay here in San Mateo. Had a parent that was interested. She said, you know what, I'm not going to wait around. These kids need this right now. Earth Day's coming up. So she jumped on board and got, I think, 30 posters for all classrooms. They put the poster up in each classroom. Next thing you know, the kids are staring at that poster every day, right up there with the clock. And is it recess yet? Oh, there's that Earth again. And so the kids started asking the teachers, well, what more can we do? And so anyway, long story short, they got their recycling program totally top notch. They've got kids out there at playground time and recess with crew member Spaceship Earth shirts saying, hey, wait, that's compost, or that's plastic, that's trash. They got written up in the newspaper. All those kids got great self-esteem boost. Other schools wanted to get involved, you know.
From just snowball, the snowball effect.
Exactly. And that's what we need if we're going to pass this on. By the year 2020, our big overall 2020 vision, and we joke about that with glasses, say our current global vision's a little blurry, so hopefully we can get 2020 by the year 2020. And the goal would be to have the image of Earth in every classroom. And I don't necessarily mean that it has to be the poster or postcard. If you can only afford a sticker, whatever. The globe aspect, this thing here, is what I'd like to see in their classrooms because it's 3D. And invariably, if you have an image like the flag or a poster, it's two-dimensional, and you leave out somebody. You've got a shot of Africa, or you've got a shot of the United States, which is on the postcard. But this way, it's 3D, everybody gets it, and you get to see the relationship much more easily. The clouds, the fact that the Sahara Desert is huge. Quite often on our maps, we don't show Africa the way it really is. You can take the United States, lift it up, and put it in the Sahara Desert. Most people don't know these things. We grow from flat maps, and we look and we think that Greenland is the size of Australia, and it's not. So anyway, this is a fun way to get education going because it's a toy as well as a learning tool. We've had Peace Corps workers, for example, take it over to places, and they say it's great because it can fold up in your pocket. Great gift as well as teaching tool. And
it transcends the language barrier, cultural barriers, or anything. It pretty much puts you right in perspective.
Well, again, going back to the Peace Corps, one of the people told me that when they brought it to their village, the village elders thought it was too valuable, so they locked it up in the hut with all their valuable treasures. So the kids, but in general, yeah, it's a breakdown to where everybody has a reaction to that image of Earth, whether it's the globe, a postcard, or a flag. It doesn't matter. The point is, see it the way the astronauts see it. See it without frames, without boundaries. No yellow and pink and purple countries, just the clouds, because none of the creatures on the planet besides human beings care about those boundaries, and 90% of the humans don't. We like to travel and go around. It's usually just the Border Patrol, and you keep control of your cows, milk them, we'll keep control of our cows and milk them. So people are waking up everywhere, and this isn't any kind of radical call for revolution at all. It's strictly a fun concept. We want the kids to see themselves as crew members of the big spaceship Earth, and that's the thing where the astronauts really love it, because they go, the term crew member is crucial, because you're not a passenger. You're not freight, you're not a stowaway. A crew member implies responsibility, you know, and so what's your job when you grow up? What are you going to do? And these kids have grown up with Star Trek, Star Wars, they get it. They know you can't blow up half the spaceship and expect it to fly right if the other half is burning on fire. I don't know if you're familiar, there was a thesis study done back in the 60s, around 66, when Star Trek came out and the civil rights was going on at the same time. And they matched up the idea that civil rights blossomed largely because of science fiction that had come up in the 50s and 60s. Kids understanding that it's not about being black or white or a Wookiee or a Klingon or whatever. It's about being a good being or a not so good being. The visual didn't matter. And so that was an amazing thing to me to think about. So we're into basically saying if you want to change the world, then change your global view. See it the way the astronauts do.